Pumpkinhead, a ghost story, told live at the DMS, October 25th, 2019. I lived in Jokeville and had just moved into a brand new house in a brand new subdivision when the nightmares started. Or maybe I should have said nightmare, because it was always the same nightmare. It was a bright moonlit night in midsummer, and I was making my way down a path along the edge of a farmer's field, with woods nearby. I said it was the same nightmare, but the details varied. Sometimes all I experienced was a sudden sharp blow on the back of the neck, knocking me to the ground. But at other times, I became aware of a shadowy figure at the periphery of my vision, before once again being knocked down. Other times, I saw him emerge from the woods, a short, squat man who looked somewhat familiar, wearing a cap and carrying an axe, in his muscular arms. Sometimes he charged me, axe raised, while other nights I dreamed I turned tail and ran, whilst he chased me in the moonlight. I always woke up in a cold sweat, sometimes more than once a night. I loved my new house, but this was getting me down. One reason I loved the house was it allowed me to have a vegetable garden, but this year I decided to have my own pumpkin patch. It was when my pumpkins began to mature during the last hot days of August and September that I noticed their deformity. Instead of the usual jack-o'-lantern shape, my pumpkins actually looked like human heads, complete with high foreheads and noses. "I guess I won't be decorating with them," I said ruefully. And in the meantime, the nightmares were really ramping up, and I was almost afraid to go to sleep at night. And then it was Canadian Thanksgiving and Halloween. Pumpkin time. I'd gone for a walk late one night and noticed a lighted jack-o'-lantern sitting on a neighbor's porch. I liked the design and thought I might copy it if I ever grew a decent pumpkin. The next evening I went for another walk, only to find the pumpkin gone. It was gone and replaced with a severed human head. It was the head of a young man with a high forehead and prominent nose, sitting in a pool of dripping gore. The sight shocked me, but then I realized that it must have been a Halloween decoration. "It's pretty realistic for a Halloween decoration," I said to myself. "In fact, it's gory, it's gross." But then I looked again, and it was only a pumpkin. "Better get my damned eyes checked," I muttered, shaking my head. You guys are just going to have to give me a second here. This is so hard to talk about. I just need a minute. Just give me a second. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm better now. And then my troubles really started, you see. For each time I saw a pumpkin or a large squash, I saw a severed human head. Always the same head, the head of a young man with a high forehead and prominent nose, sitting in a pool of dripping gore. I'd blink my eyes, and it would be a pumpkin or a squash again. Oh God, I'm losing my mind," I told myself. And then the same weird phenomena happened to my very own pumpkins, in my pumpkin patch. They turned into a patch of severed heads. I had a bloody decapitation farm. Bloody, that was a poor choice of words. A wretched decapitation farm. One bright moonlit night, I couldn't take it anymore, and decided to dig them all up and destroy them. I'd try again next year. Better luck next time. I hadn't dug down far when my spade hit something hard. Hard and white. Pushing the dirt away with my fingers, I recoiled. It was a human skull. At first I thought it was a prank, but on closer examination, I knew it was real. How did it get there? Who could have put it there? And why? And how was I going to explain it? Explain it without somebody thinking that I'd done it as a prank. Or maybe that I'd done something more serious. Like murder. Like axe murder. Why did I think of axe murder? But that's what popped into my mind. I know now it was stupid, but I reburied it and went back to bed. Things came to a head. Ouch. Oh, ouch, ouch. They came to a climax in quite a public manner. I was at a huge grocery store with my new girlfriend, and she just picked out a large, round pumpkin to use as a decoration. But as she walked towards me, I could see she actually cradled a severed human head in her arms. The same severed human head that haunted me, haunted my dreams. The blood from the decapitated head ran down her arms and was dripping on her blouse, her jeans, over her sandaled feet, with her lovely little red toes. Now they were red with blood. I shrieked and tore the gory head from her, dashing it to the ground, as I grabbed her and started dragging her towards the parking lot, to the front door, to the parking lot. "Quick, we gotta get away. We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here," I cried, and she screamed and tried to wriggle from my grasp. 3 security guards took me down just outside the door. The police were called and I was arrested and sent for a psychiatric evaluation. Of course they checked my house, and of course they checked the garden, and of course they dug it all up, and of course they found the skull and a complete skeleton of a man who'd been decapitated, and of course I was charged with murder. You have to give me another minute here. I was charged with murder, and I'd probably be in jail now. Maybe even doing life. But then the forensic unit made an unusual discovery. The skull and the rest of the bones were at least a century old. The victim had been decapitated, but the murder had taken place at least 100 years ago. The cops may have suspected me of playing an elaborate prank, but then the local history librarian came to them with the following yarn, the following bit of unofficial local history. Back in 1897, 2 young farm laborers were competing for the same farmer's daughter, the same wealthy, beautiful young farmer's daughter. It was not a friendly competition. They hated each other. Then one of the rivals, Tony, suddenly disappeared without a trace, leaving no note or forwarding address. And so, after a while, the second man, Jim, won the girl. The farm where the men worked and competed for fair Emma's affections was on the same land as a new subdivision. The new subdivision I lived in. The subdivision that included my new home, and my vegetable garden, and my pumpkin patch. Jim was my great-great-grandfather. Was he also an axe murderer? Did he get rid of Tony one moonlit night, burying the corpse in what became of my pumpkin patch? What became my pumpkin patch? Yeah, what became of it? Were the nightmares and illusions Tony's revenge? Well then, hey, Tony, leave me out of this. I wasn't there. I wasn't born yet. I wasn't conceived, even thought of. You want revenge, Tony? You want revenge? Go down to hell and have it out with great-great-grandpa. Have a duel, loaded pumpkins at 50 paces. Just leave me alone. Alone! I spent some time in hospital, but I'm okay now. I moved to another province, and I have a new girlfriend now. But I always make sure I'm out of the country for Thanksgiving, and Halloween. I go to sensible places like the UK, where they burn dummies of Guy Fawkes in bonfires, or Mexico for the relaxing Day of the Dead, which is more like several days of the dead. Ha ha! Tequila! The rest of the time, I'm fine. Unless someone says something like pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie! Because if you say pumpkin pie, I want mine with ice cream. WSJ here. Happy Turkey and Pumpkin Days, everyone. And help celebrate by sharing this video, or leaving a comment, dropping a like, and subscribing for more Night Floaters and ghost stories of a librarian, as well as ghost stories told live and unplugged at the DMS. Until next time, stay hungry.